Hi guys, Joe here. Finally doing another video. It's been a good minute. I've been very busy with work and school and a whole bunch of other stuff, so haven't really been playing all that much. But on Saturday, there was an Alti RainCon tournament, and so I can get like an Alti Catastrophe or something. It's like 40 something people, 6 rounds. I went X1 in Swiss, second after Swiss, and then lost in top 8. To Machina Quick Draw, which was crazy. But I played Vayu. I played Get Well Soon Vayu. Shout out to Dallas Bailey for coming up with the name, essentially. It is a variant of the Virus Vayu deck that's been pretty popular. Also, shout out to Eric Shen for helping me not only with my homework, but also with this deck. We came to some pretty similar conclusions before we kind of started talking about the deck, and our list ended up being pretty similar, and then it's kind of just changed from there, and we've talked about a couple different card choices, so he's been super helpful. And check out his channel as well, and check out Pristine Protection. Use code JOYGO10 for 10% off. Anyways, getting into the deck here, I decided to play 40 cards. A lot of people have been playing 41, 42, but I was able to slim down a lot of stuff just to play 40, and I don't know how I feel about it. I think it's like, better to play 40 in Vayu, obviously, but I don't know if this is really correct, because like the small percentage change of you like not drawing into some of your cards, to be able to play some of these other cards that would be the 41st or 42nd cards, I don't know if the trade-off is really there. So anyways, pretty standard stuff to start out with. The 3 Sirocco, 3 Vayu, and the Gale. I was like, I really want to cut this card, but in practice, like, this card is decent. It's worth playing. So it will stay in my deck for now. 2 Caius, and then the only different thing is I played 1 Hamster, 3 Raikou. People are playing 2 of this. I'm playing Charge, so I thought I could cut it. Also, it became a really common trend that I would side out one of these. Not only like you side it out going second, but also there are better going first cards to put in than Hamster, in my opinion. So I took this card out a lot. So I was like, oh, I'll just play 1, and 1 was fine for me, honestly. Yeah, I think I'm gonna play 1 in the future. And then I played the 2 Greffer, 2 Arma, pretty standard. Card Trooper, Plague, Necro. This card, I've been back and forth about cutting a lot. It's like solid, right? It gets to 1900, so it beats over like Stratos. It trades with Alias. A lot of those like bigger level 4 monsters, which definitely can come up. It's just like very poor going first, in my opinion. Obviously sticking it is nice, but like the concept of milling cards in this deck is like isn't all that relevant, because there are only a couple like insane cards you want to mill, right? Like milling one of the pieces is nice, as well as milling one of these cards, but at the end of the day it's only 8 cards that you want to mill, so I don't know. It's decent. It is something that I could consider cutting, but it seems like a card that's so accepted in the Vayu deck that removing it might be incorrect, but who knows. There's always a way to innovate a deck. And I played Gores. I wasn't playing Gores for the longest time. This card's broken. I play this deck super duper slow. I try to like hold my card as long as possible, and this card allows you to not die if someone's playing super aggressive, so I like this card a lot. I played Dark Arms, obviously, and Chaos Orc. This card's ridiculous. I'm a big fan of Chaos Orc. Obviously, this is one of the newer additions to the deck that people have not been playing as much of, but I really like it. It's going to stay in my deck for the future, for sure. For the spells, Rhoda, Charge. This card's ridiculous. I don't understand why you wouldn't play this card. Essentially what it is another Raikou that has a really high upside, right? Chance of you milling an extender or one of the pieces, as well as allowing you to just like get set up more. And you can do these cool little like mind games, right? You're gonna charge for Raikou. You might have another normal summon in your hand. You can set the card that isn't Raikou to play around something like a Caius on it, or just them, not committing as much into the board thinking that it's going to be a Raikou set when it's really something else. So a lot of cool things you can do with this card, allowing your opponent to have that knowledge, as well as I suppose it gives you flexibility aside into something like Lila, but it hasn't been something to come up I've ever thought of. So Brain, Allure, Burial, Misty, Heavy, pretty standard. And then for the traps, I mained 2 Deck Devi, and then I played 2 Prison, 2 Bottomless, Return, Dust Shoot, Mirror Force, Torrential. The 2 Deck Devi in the main deck was nice. Unfortunately, I did not play against many matchups where it was very good against it, but overall, I think maining 2 is probably the way to go. I think you gotta respect Frogs. I just think Frogs is probably the best Edison deck in my opinion, so having these insane blowout cards is super important. You want as many cards that are like as unfair as possible in your deck, and Deck Devi is one of those best cards. So 40 cards in the main deck. I didn't main Solemn. I didn't main a second Hamster, obviously. I didn't main a 3rd Prison, so kind of trying to cut back on all the excess cards. For the extra deck, super standard as well. 2 Armed Wing, 2 Armor Master, 1 Silver Wind, Armory Arm, Cataster, Brio, Goyo, Black Rose, Stardust, Thought Ruler, Dark Ends, Colossal Fighter, and Chimera Tech because I played Cyber Dragon. I think Cyber Dragon is nice, as well as you have to respect the Machina matchup. I think that deck is really solid into Vayu. I actually played against 3 of them on Saturday, and I definitely struggled. So having Chimera Tech definitely helps a lot. I think that deck should definitely be respected as one of your harder matchups. In terms of like playing multiple or a 3rd Armed Wing, it came up a couple times, but not enough for me to play something else like another Armed Wing. The only card that I would say might be cuttable is Armory Arm. It comes up in super niche situations where you have like Raikou plus Plague, and like if you go like Raikou, Plague, make Armory Arm, and then go like Vayu, make Armed Wing, summon back, make Colossal, then obviously you can do the Colossal Armory Arm play, which is really cool. But I don't think I've made this card like at all, honestly. So it might be worth considering playing something else. For the side deck, I played 3 Dust Tornado. I gotta respect the Blackwing matchup for sure, as well as I played against a lot of Hero Beat actually, which this deck has a fine matchup into, but obviously Dust Tornadoes help. As well as talking against like Machina, they side in what is the Iron Wall? Sorry about that. Side in Iron Wall, and this is a great out to it. So definitely a necessary card. Side of the 2 Oppression, didn't want to main any. I definitely could see myself maining this card, honestly. It's really good. Obviously it conflicts a little bit with Sork, but the theory being like if you have Oppression and you stick the Oppression, they're not going to be able to like push through whatever semblance of a board you have set up. And if they out the Oppression, then you can just summon the Sork and apply pressure with that. So if you draw both and you draw this like before the Sork is live or something like that, obviously they conflict a little bit, but there wasn't really a whole lot of instances where I'd be taking out the Sork and putting in the Oppression, as well as like not just keeping the Sork in and putting in the Oppression. So and then I played 2 Eradicator. This card's ridiculous. Let me fix it a little bit. I'm a big fan of this card. Calling traps against all the trap decks is super nice. I hit this for 4. I hit a guy for like more than 4 because he had 4 sets, and then he Morphing Jarred and drew some more traps. Then I Eradicated him and hit like 8 cards. It was ridiculous. So big fan of this. And the way that you make this live on turn 1 is I'm also playing the Greffer and the Elfin, siding into these cards when I go first. Honestly, the 3rd Greffer is ridiculous. It kind of solves one of the big issues with the deck, which is clumping on Vayus in your hand. So this allows you to get so much value, especially if you can send the Necro and you have another Dark in your hand. You just get so many big bodies so quickly, as well as this being a really easy way to get Armed Wing on the field as fast as possible, or Armor Master, I'm sorry. So that allows you to dump this, banish it with Vayu, make a 2500 monster that you can shoot with Eradicator. So I like this stuff a lot. If I could fit these in the main deck, I absolutely would. If I were to cut something, I'm not sure what it would be. It would probably be Chaos Orc and something else, but I really like Chaos Orc in my deck so far. So it could just be cut Card Trooper and play 41, but it kind of defeats the purpose of playing 40, right? Obviously. So for the last trap, I played Solemn. This card was like okay. Kind of like Eric said in his profile, it's only good against some of the matchups, so siding it makes the most sense. So not that good going second, but I did put it in against some of the trap decks because just being able to set this before you commit to a big push it can be super important. So that card's definitely worth playing. And I played My Body. This card's ridiculous. I like this card a lot. Obviously, it beats stuff like Orange Light, Judgment Dragon, stuff for the Light Sword matchup, but just being able to stop cards like Mirror Force is also super important. So big fan of this card. It was Starlight Road for the longest time, but I think this card is definitely more impactful. I played Mind Control. It's just here for the mirror match, as well as like I guess it's like okay into Machina, but I don't think I set it into Machina because there's no way for you to convert the fortress, right? You can't synchro it away. You can't tribute over it, obviously. So, but yeah, being able to take a set monster like a Reiko, a hamster, and get value off of it is super important. So big fan of that card. Then I played 2 Cyber Dragon for the Machina matchup, as well as like it's okay against trap decks going second. It's a big beater. It helps you convert the Caius going second a little bit better, as well as being a light for Chaos Orc. So overall, a really solid card. Last card was Kaiku. I'm not sure how I feel about this card. If you like look at the side deck, right? Like we have all of these cards that are committed towards the Frog matchup, as well as the 2 deck Devi in the main deck. So like playing another card like this isn't necessary. It might be oversighting for the matchup. And honestly, like after thinking about it, I think it might just have to be Transmigration Prophecy or something like Crow. I felt like I really struggled in Machina matchup sometimes. So you'd be like, oh, why don't you play something like System Down? Unfortunately, System Down obviously beats cards like Bottomless, which beats Cyber Dragon, but they are siding stuff like Iron Wall, so kind of conflicts there, as well as I'd rather have cards that are better into more matchups. So overall, I like the side deck. I liked the main deck. The deck feels a little bit less clunky than normal Vayu, especially siding into these type of cards. I'd like to find a way to fit these in the main deck, so I'll keep you guys updated if I end up changing anything with the main deck in the future. But thank you guys so much for watching. I'm going to try to do more content this month. That's kind of my goal. So let me know if you enjoyed this type of video. And yeah, thanks for watching.